5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Live from San Francisco, broadcasting around the world. You're listening to the Armon Wiggins Radio Show.
Get in here, everybody get in here. Get in here, everybody get in here. Uh-oh. Get in here, everybody get in here. Are we peaking? Do we sound good? I just want to make sure that we are good. We sound okay. Get in here, everybody get in here. Okay. How do we sound? How do we look? Let me get it. Yes, get in here, everybody get in here. Okay, get in here, everybody get in here. Come for the gathering. I just want to make sure you guys can all hear me because we are live and you never know what happens when you go live, child. So I want to make sure that I can hear. We good. Drop some bells and bombs in the comments if you guys can hear me and everything is good. Everybody get in here. Come for the gathering. What happens when... All right, so it sounds like we are good. We are good and we are live and we are about to get into some things, okay? We're going to have a legendary show today. All right. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Armon, and we are back with another video. If you're a returning subscriber, then you know how this thing goes. And if you're a new subscriber, welcome and hello. Hello, motherfucker. All right. So I did a poll on my channel. And I wanted to see what you guys wanted to talk about. Did you guys want to do some gossip, some pop culture stuff, or some story times? And you guys decided that you want to do a story time. And I was like, okay, great. Well, for right now, in my mind, I can't think of any celebrity encounters that I've had to tell you about. But I guess this would be a good time, new year, new season, new start, for me to go ahead and lead off with a little bit more of a story time about me. I think we've been in this relationship on YouTube now for about 2 years. So leading into our 3rd year, I thought perhaps maybe you guys could get to know a little bit more about me. I hope you don't mind. I'm just trying new things for the new year and opening up my platform to, various types of content. So, but before we get into it, I would like to give a shout out to Royal Black Clothing for sending me all this stuff. They sent me this hoodie. They sent me this beautiful mug, this HBCU. Everything is all black, but it's 90s inspired. It's very me. This hat actually goes with it. Look at that. Boom. But I'm doing the leather to the back. They also sent me look at that. They sent me some hats. So go check them out. Super dope. You guys will probably be seeing these hats all over my channel. I got another beanie here. And if you know me, you know I love a good hoodie. A good windbreaker. So they sent me the melanin windbreaker. So you guys will probably see that on my channel too. So shout out to them for sending me some new good gear and things like that. So shout out to I love that. I love when people send me clothes. I love it. I love when people send me clothes, especially clothes that work for me. Now this is a large, it's a little big. But I always get like an upsize when I get stuff from offline because I'm not sure if it's going to fit. However, if I get this again, I'll probably get in the medium because, I am slimming down. All right. So I'm not really a large anymore. And this is Royal Black on Instagram. OK, so boom, let them know that I sent you. Oh, wow. I see $100 super chat already. Thank you. I'm also seeing Samantha Buford. Oh, wait, well, let me see. Gma, thank you, Gma. She said, hey there, baby. Shout out to Samantha for the super chat. And thank you, Unique. Happy New Year, Mom. Continue to be blessed. Continue to be you. All right. Thank you so much. All right. So y'all ready for the story? Ciao. So we got to talk. So a lot of you guys know that I had went to jail before, right? Now, a lot of you guys don't know the whole landscape of how it happened and whatever. So I told the story about going to jail before, but I'm going to tell it again because now you guys need to understand how when I went to jail, I had ran into the trade and he tried to take my cakes, okay? And I almost got took in jail by the trade. Now, mind you, he was the ticket, okay? But before we get into that, you know what we got to do. Whenever we get into the story times, we got to go back in order to go forward, okay? So grab a cocktail, because it's going to be probably a little bit of a lengthy story. Grab a snack, turn me up on your Bluetooth if you're at work, or if you're listening, get real comfortable, make sure the sound is just right. And if you're driving, put it up and get ready and let the story begin. Okay. So this is about 2009, all right? So I was about, I don't know, 19, 20. I don't even think I was 21, to be honest with you. And I was living in Houston. And so I was living the life, child. I was really, really living the life. I was out there in the scene. I was doing all of the things, okay? I was one of the girls, okay? I was getting full. I was popping pills. I was doing bump. Like it was the life. I was smoking cigarettes. It was really a legendary kind of thing. And me and all my homegirls, we all kind of lived together, and we would pull niggas and we would just do a lot of stuff. And one of my homegirls, which is i.e. one of my homeboys, he was dating this boy. Well, actually, there was this man, he was a scammer, okay? And the scammer liked me. I didn't like the scammer. He was very unattractive, ugly out the game, but everybody knew that he had a coin. And so what he would do is he would act like he liked you, and then you would act like you liked him, so that you can get, whatever you need to get out of him. So the scammer told me that he would help me get a car because I had no car. Now, mind you, at the time, I was staying with some of my homeboys, right? But they was a little shady. Like, they was always like, I don't know, it was always like some underlying kind of shade, some underlying like competition. I don't know. But, I always had my family back home. See, that was the thing. A lot of the girls that was in the lifestyle, they didn't really have their mom and dads, and, they didn't really have a support system. I chose to be out and be a thought box and be fast. My dad, my family was always there for me. You know what I mean? But I wanted to go be gay. So I went and did that. And so I'm out there living the life, right? But I didn't have no car. My dad was like, nigga, my dad bought me a car. Ever since I was 16, my dad would buy me a car every year. And I would just do stuff like leave the car at my house, give the car to my best friend. And I would just be on the plane out of town for months. I'd go get an apartment. I'd just do all kind of stuff. So my dad was like, I'm not getting you no car. I'm done. I bought you 5 cars already. You're not even 20 years old. I buy you a car every year. You're not getting another car. So I'm like, well, I really need a car. And they're like, well, my dad's like, well, you need to figure it out. But see, I was always working, so it was never a problem. But when I met the scammer, we was hanging out. He liked me, but I didn't really like him. But he would take me, to the Marriott, and we would do, like out to eat. And I didn't really understand what he was doing, but he would be swiping the credit cards. Well, he was like, well, you want to get a car, don't you? And I was like, well, yeah, I would like to get a car. He was like, well, this is what you gotta do. But that's a whole nother story. So, child, we was on a get money mission. So we would go around and go get money. And he would take me to all these different banks and like, I don't know what he would do. He would just like first of all, he made me like it was a mess. He made me like get like check stubs and all kind of stuff in my name, all kind of stuff. And he was like writing checks in my name, depositing them into the bank. Oh my God. So he was doing that stuff, right? And so we pull out the money. And I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't really understand that whole piece of it. But he was just like, you just follow me. And we're doing this because we're going to get you an ID. And you need an ID and you need a profile and you got to pay for it. I'm like, okay. I knew nothing. So he goes and gets me. He goes, well, I'm flying to Florida. Now, this is the man. Now, mind you, this ends up being some tea later on. This is the man. You got to remember the Florida man. The man in Florida. Okay, the man in Florida. The boy flies to Florida to go meet the man in Florida to get the ID for me in the profile. So I go to the CVS to take a passport picture, and then he took the passport picture, went to Florida. I didn't get to go to Florida. So then they had a profile made and an ID made for me. So they got an ID made, and my name was like, I don't know, it was like James Wolf or something like that. It was like this 50-year-old white man with outstanding credit. All right, with my information, everything on, and I'm like, I literally knew nothing. Okay. And so after two or 3 weeks, he comes back and he was like, okay, we're ready to get you a car. So you got to be careful. You know, you're not going to get like the fastest car on the block and on, you know, whatever. You're not going to get like a flashy car. I'm like, that's fine. I don't need a flashy car, because the whole plan was we was going to just get the car and then pay on it every month and then transfer it into my legal name. That was the whole plan. Okay, so boom. He had got this around the time the 09 Honda Accords came out. So he had got him a 09 Honda Accord. Now my best friend had got, like, he was really feeling my best friend. Now this is some tea though. I'm not gonna lie. I did tell my best friend, I'm like, girl, you need to kind of talk to him, because bitch, I don't really like him, and he's giving out the coins and the cars, and girl, you need a car too. So that's a whole nother thing. So my best friend ends up getting a car too. He gets my best friend a Mercedes Benz off the same profile. And I never knew this. He got his car, the Mercedes Benz, and then we were getting my car. But I never knew that he was getting all 3 cars with my profile. And mind you, I got the cheapest car. Oh, she was a fraud for real. So we go to the car lot, okay? After getting all this money, we go to the car lot. And we sit there in front of the car lady, the sales lady, black lady. Now, he tells me she knows the tea. She's going to get you right. I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yes, she's going to get you the car that you need. I'm like, all right, perfect, no problem. I'm ready to get the car. So we're sitting there, and I'm looking around at cars, and now I'm like, well, I think I want that one, and I want that one, because she ran my credit. Mind you, she asking me, you know, how much money I would make. I'm just jumping out the window, $100,000, and I'm giving all that. And then she like, what's your name? I said, James Wolf. She looking at the ID, and she looking at me. Mind you, that I think the birth on that motherfucker was like 1955. But she looking at it, and she looking at me, and I'm like, what does she keep looking at me for? And she like, when is your date of birth? And I'm like, you know, May 16, 1955. And she looking at me like, that is not your birthday. And I'm like, yes, it is. And she like, okay. I said, now, did I get approved? And I said, how much I want? She said, how much you want to put down? I said, nothing. And I know I'm approved. My credit is immaculate. Now, mind you, the man only had like a house, and I think he had a Jetta that he had paid off. He had paid off his daughter's Jetta or something like that. So child, she like, okay, well, whatever, you know, let's go look at the cars. Cause she like, you know, I'm just gonna get my sale. I know this is a fraud and a scam. And if you ever work in retail or in sales, you know when people are scamming, but you don't give a darn. It's all about the quote at the end of the day. You're gonna make your sales. So she like, shit, nigga, go out there and go pick your car. So I'm like, well, what car do I want? And let me see, and let me sit in that, and let me sit in this. And oh, this is a 2010 Mustang convertible GT. Oh, well, maybe I want the Malibu here. You know, I'm just giving all that. And then she had got to the point of like, sir, you're gonna take this car right here. And I'm like, well, what is this? So it was a silver 2003 or 2004 Mustang, right? And it was a convertible. I was like, you know what? I'll take it. Now I should have known something wasn't right, because all the other boys sat in the car. So they sitting in the car, and I'm like, well, you know what? This is the car. I'll take it. I love Mustangs. I want it. So I take it. I get the car. And I'm like, so she's like, your first payment is due on this day. And, you know, here, sign, and here's the keys, and everything pushed. So I signed, got the keys, and baby, I was gone in my Mustang. And just like that, I had a brand new Mustang. Now, baby, I was rocking and rolling. I was all through Houston. We was at the after hours. I had went to Atlanta. Baby, I'm with the top down. Mind you, this is all in a stolen car. I'm in Atlanta. I got niggas every which way. We flying in dope. Like, I mean, it was a mess. You know what I'm saying? My best friend got a car. I got a car. We importing stuff from girl. We importing stuff from California, and it was a mess. Probably shouldn't even be saying this, but it was a mess back in the day. So, baby, we out here, and we really get into some things. You know what I'm saying? We got pills and coke and weed, and I mean, we was the jerk boys. And so that's when you're a jerk. So and we was the Cali jerk boys. So that like we would wear the skinny jeans, and it was like 4 of us. But then we would have all this money, and we would have all of this stuff. Okay. Until things started to go a little left. And I knew the scammer had scammed me because he stopped answering my phone calls. Then it was like he was telling my best friend that I used him to try to get a car, and then when I got a car I started acting funny, which in reality that wasn't the truth. That wasn't the case. He had stopped talking to me and I couldn't figure out why, but he was having me have my debit card sent to the bank. Like he would have me order these debit cards in my name, but they would be sent to the bank. And then sometime, and like instead of being sent to my address, and then sometimes, we would like do little transactions over the phone, and they would need your mother's maiden name and this, that, and the third. And he always be telling like, give me your mom's maiden name. Just tell me the name and tell me the last 4 of your password. And I was thinking like, well, we getting money together. He's helping me out. So, whatever, I'm going to do it. I give him my information. So what ends up happening is, I guess he gets caught up. Right? He gets caught up, and what come to find out, he had my ID, 3 or 4 or 5 different debit cards with my name on it. He got caught up from doing a bunch of fraudulent stuff at Marriott's and this and that. Like, it was just a mess. He had got caught up from doing a bunch of different stuff, and he was scamming me. So the whole thing was he was making it seem like I had did him dirty, but he was doing me dirty, but he had glossed me right over and was saying that basically he tricked me. He got me a car, but ended up ruining my credit. And so I was at Just Brittany's house. I don't know if you guys know Just Brittany, but she's from Love and Hip Hop. I was choreographing for Just Brittany at the time. That was a thing. It didn't really go anywhere. It was she was doing that song, call me for that good. If you want it, you can get it. Call me for that good. So anyway, she had wanted me to choreograph for her at her house. I'm at Just Brittany's house with my best friend. And so I get a phone call, and somebody says the feds are at the house. I'm like, wait a minute. My friend goes, girl, I don't know where you at, but the feds are snooping around the house. And I said, the feds are snooping around? And they say, yes. So immediately, I'm trying to do the choreography for Just Brittany, but I'm like, I can't even think right because the feds are looking for me. Did I get a phone call, Mr. Wiggins? Yes, we want to ask you, we want to talk to you in regards to, a Honda Accord and a Ford Mustang. And I'm like, I don't know anything about it. So what do I do? Like any other, young black African-American man, that doesn't know anything. Well, I go on the run. What, you thought I was going to turn myself in? I went on the run. I started hiding from the police, okay? I was running from the feds. We were hiding the car. I was hiding because then I had found out that I had become the lead suspect because the man that told me, that got me the car, lied to the police and told him that I was the ringleader of all of the cars and all of the scams. So the feds are looking to prosecute me as the head honcho. I'm like, I know you lying. I know you lying. No. So I call up one of my girlfriends. I'm like, girl, what are we going to do? But at the same time, I was still a girl. I was still one of those girls. So what we did was, my best friend, listen, because we have found out that all three of the cars got used on the same profile. He went down for 2 cars and he was trying to put me down for one of the cars. Now, the Mercedes got sold, but before that, one of the boys, they ended up switching the license plates on the Mercedes, came up with some license plate numbers, switched the license plates on the Mercedes, and then my car, I don't know how, we had the little sensor in the car, but we would try to drive, like smart without the police. Like we would drive it at night and we would drive it and we would park it around the corner. We wouldn't park right in front of the house, like little shit like that. Like we wouldn't park directly there, or then we would park at like my homeboy house, you know what I mean? Things like that. But one day my friend was like, you need to take it to the chop shop. You need to take it to the chop shop. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think we could take this to the chop shop. They're like, no, y'all should take this to the chop shop. So I called up one of my friends. I was like, okay, listen, we just need to go to Atlanta. So it's like 5 of us. Mind you, we in Atlanta. It's dope in the car. We both in Stolos. And mind you, me and my homegirl, like we got the top down. I'm like, we in Atlanta, we in the Stolo, we driving cross country with bags of dope in the car. But girl, we like, you know what? We're gonna live this life and we're gonna love it, and we're gonna it is what it is. So we go to Atlanta, baby, and we parties, baby. We're getting full. We're getting so full. Like, girl, it was a lot. It was a whole thing. I had never been to Atlanta before, and I was just like, you know what? We're going, and you know, I'm going to get my life in Atlanta, and you know, we might could take it to a chop shop out there in Atlanta. But I was too scared to take it to the chop shop in Atlanta. So we ended up doing Atlanta and then coming back. The feds are at the door. Mind you, I'm peeking. Mind you, I used to be so scared to come home. I used to be so scared. Every time the door would ring, you know, the little blinds, you would peek through the blinds. The feds would be the police would be at the door. I wouldn't open the door, but the car was never there. I would be so nervous this whole time about this car until eventually we all kind of fell out, and I was like, you know what? I can no longer run in Houston. I can't do this anymore. I'm better than this. So the only thing I knew to do at that point after that, because it was getting way too hot, only thing I knew what to do was call my dad. I didn't tell him what happened, but I moved home. Oh yeah, I left Houston. I said, you know, I'm done with that. I came back to California. Act like nothing happened. Got enrolled in college. Oh yeah. Went to LA, went to Performing Arts Academy. Now I'm in college. I've forgotten about that. I get a phone call. We dropped the car off I gave the car to one of my friends named Chris, and he was like driving the car. And I said, girl, you do whatever you do with that car. I don't know nothing about that car. They called me. They're like, well, the police is outside and the police is knocking on everybody's door asking, do y'all know who owns this car? But the neighbor was just like, no, nobody know who owned the car. So JAlL, they finally got the car and they took the car and the car was gone. Then they found out that somehow the car was like registered to me in some way with my ID. I was gone. I was in school. I was learning ballet, jazz, theater. I was going to school for musical theater. I knew nothing about a car. I knew nothing about a Houston life. I had moved to LA and I was going to college. I was done with the ratchet shit. I was done. I had got myself enrolled to school, and I had to let that life go. I was over it. So I'm in college, doing my thing for about a year and a half, still running from the police in my mind. Now, what I would do was I wouldn't carry my ID with me, because I would feel like if they would, if they could, if I ever got pulled over and they traced my ID, I would have a warrant, because I knew I had a warrant out for my arrest. But I figured if I leave Texas, then, there's no way that someone can, I would go to jail. Like, there's no way. So I always made sure that I just did not get in any trouble with the law, because I'm like, girl, I'm not going to jail. I have to, forget about this. And the whole thing is like, well, you can't just forget about this. Like, you don't just get to forget about this. So one day over Christmas break, I'll never forget. One day over Christmas break, I'm back at home with my dad, you know what I mean? And we're chilling, and, I came home from college over Christmas break. I came home, and, my dad's like, well, you have to drive, because I'm not driving all the way back to LA. He lived like 4 hours away from LA. So I'm like up north. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to, he was like, well, you got to drive. So I'm like, okay, well, I can drive, but I'll act like I won't bring my ID. So I'm driving, and I get pulled over. And I'm in my dad's van, and this is when I knew, I was like, oh my God, my dad is not, I think this is when I realized that my dad was not a superhero. This really got me. This really got me when I realized my dad was not a superhero. So he pulls me over, the police pulled me over, and I am shaking, because I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God. So the police come back and say, sir, step out of the car. I'm like, step out of the car. My dad is like, what are you telling him to step out of the car for? Like, about to go off. I'm like, Dad, relax. And he's like, sir, step out of the car. Then he's getting all hype. I'm like, my dad's getting hyped, like he want to fight the police. I'm like, Dad, please relax, do not. He's like, step out of the car. Are you aware that you have a blue warrant out for your arrest? I said, a blue warrant? What is that? He was like, you have a warrant out in Texas for your arrest. And I'm like, how? And I was like, well, how do you know that? He was like, well, because when you don't have your driver's license or your ID, your state issued ID, we are forced to do a federal background. So like an idiot, I mean, I really wasn't an idiot. I'm glad that it happened. But like an idiot, I didn't have my California ID. So when you don't use your regular ID, they check the whole United States. And sure enough, it popped up. And so, girl, I went to jail in the middle of nowhere. And my dad goes, Armon, what's going on? And I told him, I said, remember that Mustang I told you about? He was like, yeah. I said, I stole it. He's like, you stupid fucking idiot. You stole it. What are you talking about? You stole it. I said, I stole it. I don't know. I stole it. And I started crying. Oh, my God. I said, I love you so much. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to steal a car. I needed a car. He's like, Armon, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? You fucking idiot. You stole the fucking car. You fucking idiot. So the police yanked me up and they throw me in the back of the police car. So I'm like, well, and I just go, now I'm in jail for a week. Mind you, I'm supposed to be back at school. You can't even miss a certain amount of days of school, because if you do, you're done. Like, you get kicked out of the Performing Arts Academy. This was a private school. We were paying for this. This was a Performing Arts Academy. So I somehow convinced the judge in that county to release me, because they were going to have to fly me and transport me to Texas. Okay. But the judge released me and allowed me to finish out the semester. Okay. And then I would be able to like kind of I would have to turn myself in. Okay. So that's what we did. I finished out my semester. Then me and my dad, we had to fly to Houston. So we had got this lawyer We got a lawyer, just Indian man. We spent like $10,000 on this lawyer. Got the lawyer. Mind you, I'm flying back and forth. Me and my dad are flying. That's why I love my dad. Me and him, I never lived in Texas. I still lived in California. So I was flying back and forth every other week, dang near. Like literally twice a month, it felt like we were flying back to Texas, fighting this case. So I would fly back and forth. And then sometimes my dad would just get me a extended stay hotel and he would stay up there and then he would fly in to see what the lawyer was saying and then whatever. So they were trying to get me a deferred adjudication because they were trying to charge me with a felony charge. And no, give me a felony conviction. It was a possession of ID, fraud. It was all kind of stuff. And he was like, okay. And he said, you got to take the deal. This is the first offense because they tried to paint you as the bad guy. Now, mind you, I forgot a part. Now, who ended up helping me get through this with some evidence was the guy from Florida. Long story short, I ended up sleeping or, kind of dealing with the guy from Florida. Him and I ended up meeting up. And so then we had kind of started talking because the guy from Florida, he was going down too. So, in the middle of us meeting up, we started meeting up. So now we kind of having pillow talk because we messing around, but we both fighting the case. So, somehow he ended up moving back to Texas and he ended up helping me. And it was just like, it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing, right? So anyway, so I'm trying to fight the case. I'm getting information from the guy from Florida. I'm giving it to the lawyer. We're going back and forth. This is during the time that I'm kind of like I'm at the extended stay. While I'm sitting at the extended stay, I meet the guy. I find out the guy from Florida is in Houston, living in Houston. You know what I'm saying too. So then that's how we kind of connected off of one of the apps. And then it was just like, oh wow, you're in the boom. That's how that happened, right? So all of that is going on. They're trying to give me a felony for this whole situation. So then boom. So so we're going back and forth to court, 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 back and forth in court. The guy's mom is calling me like, why did you get my son in this mess? Why did you get my son in this mess? And I'm like, girl, I didn't get your son in this mess. Your son is a 8-time felon. He cannot work a regular job. I've never went to jail before. I've never had a felony. I've never did any of this. I don't know what's happening. He took my ID. The only thing I did was sign for the car. So the judge says, well, here's what we can do for you. 4 years probation, $5,000 fine, 500 hours of community service. And I'm like, okay, well, and they're like, this is not a felony. It's a felony charge, but it's not a felony conviction. So you won't have a felony on your record. I'm like, okay, I think I could try to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Because I didn't want to go to jail. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll take it. So I took it. So on probation for 4 years. That wasn't the hard part. So I ended up moving, getting into a relationship, living with this dude in Vegas. And every month I would have to fly back to Houston to go meet with my probation officer because I didn't live in Houston. I lived in Las Vegas. I had moved with my boyfriend. I got a nigga and we had moved to Vegas and I was living with him, but they didn't know I was living out there. And so I would have to fly back and forth, to Houston because I was living in Vegas. So I got a job at Forever 21 and, I was working as a visual merchandiser. I was making like $17 an hour. I thought that was great money then, but I couldn't really pay for nothing because every week I'd have to pay for a plane ticket and a hotel room in Vegas. Oh, I'm in Houston. And baby, that is a whole nother story about what he used to do when I would go out of town. I'll have to tell you about him on another video. So I'm doing this every other week and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And then me and him ended up breaking up and I'm like, I need to move to LA. Okay. So I went to another court hearing to get my probation transferred from from Houston to LA because I was going to move from Vegas to LA. So I did that and they let me transfer. LA was peaches and cream. Like, I would go stick my hand in the probation thing. Everything was cool. I never met my PPO. You know what I mean? I would take the little, whenever I would have to clean myself for pee, like I would, sometimes you do the synthetic pee, but it got to a point where they never drug tested me down there. So even if I smoked a little weed, it was no tea, because in LA, I never had any problems. I would just go stick my hand in the little thing and they would scan the hand and I'd be good. It was just in the hood. It was just dirty. I was just scared. It was just nasty. But I had to do that every single month, and I had to pay my fines. Now, what I wasn't doing was paying my fines. Now, mind you, this is all the time I'm working with Brandy. I'm working like y'all have told those. I've told y'all those story times where I'm doing all of this other stuff on the back end. Mind you, I'm on whole probation and nobody knows. And this is why I couldn't go out of town. I couldn't get a passport. I couldn't get a lot of things. So LA ends up becoming a bit much for me. And they're like, well, you know what? You're coming up on your time and you got 2 years left of this probation, or you got a year left of your probation. So you need to finish it. So I ended up moving up with my dad because I was just like, you know what? I can't afford this anymore. They charged me. I have to go back home. So I moved back up north with my dad. So we're moving back up north. I'm living back up north. Me and him started getting into it because I don't have a job because he lives in the middle of nowhere. So, but I still had to go to LA every month to just slide my hand in the thing and come back. Even though I never met up with my PO, I would still have to go to LA once a month. So that was like $100 train ride every month just for 30 minutes. I would have to travel 8 hours on the train just to go put my hand in a little slot in LA just to come back so they wouldn't take me to jail. I got tired of it. I said, you know what? Listen, Dad, I need to grow up. I'm going back to Houston. I need to finish this off and I'm about to be done. We cried, we hugged. He said, okay, son, you know what I mean? You got to get this off your back. So I did it. Packed up my stuff. I cried. I told him I love him. I told him I thank him so much and I appreciate him, but I got to go be a man and I got to go handle this. So I get on the plane to Houston. So I'm trying to find a job, find out that the lawyer that I had was trash because even though it wasn't a felony conviction, it was a felony charge. So every time I went to apply for a job or an apartment, when they did the background check on me, it would come up as a felony. So I was getting denied jobs and opportunities and apartments left and right. I could not get a place for nothing. I could not get a place. So I'm like, oh my God, I can't get a place. So I'm literally going through the mall. I'm because all I knew was retail at the time, and I couldn't get a place. But somebody was like, you know what? If you go to Nordstrom's, girl, they don't do a background check. My homegirl, she got a felony, and she work at Nordstrom's. So baby, I hit Miss Nordstrom's up. Sure enough, I got the sales position, and it was a go. And then we did a whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, wop, whoop, wing, wing, bang, bang, boom, girl. And I got me an apartment. And then, and I got me a little boyfriend, and I got me a little car. Then I was on my way. I was doing my thing. But the only thing I was not doing was the community service. I was even paying the fine, but it was the community service for me. One time I went to the community service and they had me picking up garbage and sorting out trash, and it just stunk. Like, I've never been to a garbage place. Like, it was just stinking. And so the lady said, if you have your phone, you get eliminated that day and you can never come back. And I don't know. It was just so much. It was so much garbage and stuff. And I think I had like picked my phone up to just do this and look at the time, and they seen me and they told me that I was fired and I could never come back there and do the community service. So, child, I'm getting to it. We needed to go back so y'all can get it. So, child, I'm back. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm doing my thing. I'm like, whatever, I'll get to that. I still got 6-7 months left. I could knock this community service out. My PO, she like, you need to get it together. If you don't get these offers, the next time you come in here, if you don't have these hours, at least 8 hours done, you are going to jail. I'm like, okay, whatever. So it's Labor Day weekend. Me and my boyfriend had broken up. I was stressed out. I was stressing. It was just a lot. We had broken up. He had moved on so quickly. He got a new boyfriend. I had one of my homegirls come stay with me for a little bit. Now, she was a turn up. We was a turn up. I was young. She was young. You know what I mean? And I was working. She was working. But we, it was just a lot. She would work from inside the house. I would work from outside the other house, outside the house. And so we would get full, and I mean, full, and we would drink, and we would smoke, and we would just get into all of the things and key. And so I was talking to this one boy at the time, and now this is a whole nother story, but I was talking to this boy at the time. He wanted me to come through his house. So I came through his house, and we was chilling or whatever. And he kind of left and was like, he's going to the strip club. And I'm like, oh, okay. But like, but you can stay here. But now he stayed with his cousin. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know why you just think like you're going to keep leaving me here and you're going to go kick it with other niggas. Like I'm like stupid. Like he was a cute boy though, right? His cousin was okay. But the cousin felt like was giving me the eye. Now, one time we did like a double date thing. It was really interesting. And I still know all of them to this day. Like I know them all. But bitch, I don't know if everybody knows the story, but I'm not going to go too far into the story. Long story short, I spent the night at the boy house, but the boy left. He didn't come back till the next morning. And I figured that, and me and the cousin got full, and I spent the night in the cousin's bed because I felt some type of way. So me and the cousin had a party of our own. He invited me into the room. I was sleeping on the couch. He was like, I don't know why my cousin keeps doing you like this. And I was like, I don't know why he keeps doing me like this either. He was like, well, you can come in here and talk to me. And I was like, okay, I can come over there and talk to him. Before you know what, we were talking. And I spent the night. I never went home. So, but thank God, because then I picked up my clothes and I went to work. I went to Nordstrom. From their house, I get a call from my homegirl at the house. Girl, you need to come home. Like she was a down homegirl. She was like, girl, you need to come home. I was like, why? She was like, the police just kicked the door down with guns. I'm like, what? She like, yes, girl. The police, they just kicked the door down and it was like 5 police officers. They all had pistols and rifles and they ran through the house. I'm like, oh my God. I said, what do you mean? She was like, yes, and they looking for you. And she said, and they on their way to Nordstrom's now. And I said, what? I was in the middle of a sale. I had told that lady, thank you, ma'am. I don't even know can't even remember if I wrapped that lady stuff up. I think I might have threw that shit at that woman and got out of there. I might have threw that shit and I just told them, listen, I need the rest of the day. I have to take I have something very important I have to do. I have to get out of here. I ran to the house and I'm like, girl, what do you mean? She's like, girl, the feds came over here looking for you. They said that there is a warrant out for you. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, there's a warrant. So I call down to the police station. Then I go to the bail bondsman. I'm like, do I have a warrant out? They're like, yes. So I call my probation officer. I said, well, why do I have a warrant out? I'm doing what I need to do. She like, well, we don't feel like you're going to complete your community service in time. I'm like, how are you able to tell me when I'm going to complete the community service in time? I got 3 months to finish 600 hours. I'll get to it. No, you don't have enough time. So you do have a warrant out for your arrest. So I'm like, all right, girl. I just got to go down. So I tell all my people, I'm like, I'm finna go down for a minute. I set everything up. I didn't really tell my dad. I just was like, all right, I'm finna go down. I told my homegirl, like, this is what I need you to do. Blah, 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 blah. I need you to put this money here. I need you to do this. I need you to answer the phone when I call you. I tell my mom this, that, and the third. I had this little dude that I was talking to. I had him take me to the station. It was a whole thing. And I was like, girl, I just need you to hold me down. I'm about to be in jail for a minute. I don't know how long I'm going to be down here, but I'm going to be in jail. And I will let you know how long I'm going to be in jail for. So, girl, I put my big girl panties on and I went downtown and turned myself in. Bitch, I went to Harris County Jail. Oh my God. And I was in jail for real this time. And so I'm sitting there in jail, and they throw me they wristband you up. I'm seeing some of the girls from around the way, and I'm thinking like, oh, are they gonna put me in a gay? They don't put me in any gay spot. No gay nothing. I'm with the niggas. And so I'm just telling myself, I called my mom and I told myself I was turning myself in. And I remember my mom told me, she said, just don't take no shower and don't talk. I said, okay, if I don't do nothing else, I won't shower and I won't talk. So I stood there and I'm standing in line because I'm already skinny, and they would talk, and so I'm trying to get through it. And I'm like, I am really in jail. Now, you go to jail, it's awful. They make you take off everything. Now here's the flip side. I know this sounds so wrong, but let me tell you, the niggas is in jail. Let me tell you something. The niggas are definitely in jail. The fine ass niggas are in jail. I'm not recommending that you go there, but the niggas are in jail. Okay? Now, yes, jail was scary, but they did a couple things that really made me really have to catch myself. Now, when you get there, everybody has to get butt naked and stand in the line. And I'm like, I'm not really sure what the etiquette is, because, some of the bodies are the fool, but some of the people, I'm like, bitch, these boys is sickening. My God, I would never be able to get this look, bitch, just on a regular day basis. I'm like, oh my God, I knew you was fine. This is how you know what kind of men you like. Because now, after going to jail, I honestly can look at you and tell if you my type, because I can guarantee what it's looking like under there, front and back. And it's really the back for me. So I'm just like, oh my God. So, and they do this thing in jail, and it's just the fool. But you gotta go like walk up to the guard. You gotta like go like this, lift it up, and then you gotta turn around and spread your cheeks open. And everybody gets to watch you. I'm like, oh my God. Now, the rule of thumb is, though, you don't look down. So you look straight. But in my mind, girl, I was catching me a piece from here. Like, I wouldn't do it directly, but like, it would be like, it's a lot of inmates. So girl, I would make sure I seen the one that I'm trying to catch the tea. So I would wait until like, they would be way over there and I'll be way over here. And girl, I would have to catch the tea real quick and like, and like pay it, because girl, I did not want to get beat up. But girl, I'm like, girl, I'm not gonna not catch this tea, bitch. I'm in jail, bitch. I'm going to catch the tea. So I'm like, girl, like I'm like, oh my God. Oh my, like I'm over there gagging, like, oh my God. Like, bitch. You know what I mean? And I'm like, is anybody else catching this? But everybody's looking straight. I'm like, well, girl, okay, let me rub my eyes and act like I can't see. So I'm like looking real fast. But girl, I'm catching it. I'm like, oh my God. So that was that was some tea. Now, some people that you just didn't really want to get into. So anyway, let me speed up the story. So girl, I get into this. So mind you, I go to my court date, whatever. They find out I have 3 weeks in jail. So I'm like, all right, I'm in here for the long haul. I got 3 weeks in jail. So they put me in the dorm. I called my mom. I told her, I said, I got 3 weeks in jail. She said, the first thing you do, she said, don't tell nobody how much time you got. She said, don't tell nobody how much time you got, and don't tell nobody what you did. I said, okay. The first thing everybody asked me, how long you in here for and what did you do? I'm like, shit, man, I don't even know shit. Can't even call it. The laws fucked me, got me fucked up. Laws. Shit, man. Laws. They looking at me like, nigga, what? I'm over there, shit, man, laws. Got me fucked up. Nigga, I didn't ask you that. What did you do? And what are you in here for? Shit, man. The laws. You know what I mean? So they like, okay, this nigga's retarded. So I would sit there and that was so I'm like, because honestly, the charge was I'm in jail because I didn't finish my community service, and the charge was fraudulent use of an ID. So as I got comfortable, though, they had like the old man in jail, and he was cool. He was like, come here. You know, you cool. I know you're gay. Just don't look so soft. You know, because they'll try to pick on you in here. I'm like, all right, whatever. So then they made me feel comfortable a little bit. That was cool. We read the word and things like that. So jail, it was starting to flow. It was cool for a minute. We work out, we play basketball. So then they had interactive things. So then you would get my personality. So then Armon comes out. So now Armon is in jail. So now I'm me. Okay? I'm me. And I am reading the inmates. I'm telling them that, you know, I'm not the one and this, that, and the third. And it's really giving a lot. And I have to tell myself, like, I can't get this comfortable because then one of them wanted to fight me. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not about to fight this man. And he really told me to shut the F up and called me a fag, right? And then one of the guys like kind of had my back and he was like, nigga, okay, so you want to have his back, I'm gonna fight you. And I was like, well, they can't fight here because they got the guard, you know, watching. Oh, you're shitting me. He said, okay, we're gonna fight. So in the dorm, they have like there's a window like this where the guard can look in at a 90-degree angle, but there's a blind spot by the bathroom, the bathroom was the fool. I'll tell you about that in a second. But there was a blind spot in the bathroom, like by the bathroom area where the guard couldn't see. So they was like, well, y'all gonna fight over here at night. When they turn off the lights, y'all gonna box right here. So they're like, okay, so they turn off the lights and girl, they went and squared up. And that boy that wanted to fight me, he beat the brakes off of that boy. I was like, oh my God. Because he was trying to tell me like to shut the F up and this, that, and the third. And you know, I tried to talk a little bit. I'm like, I'm not scared of you, but I'm not about to fight you. Bitch, I was terrified, but I'm not about to fight you. I'm like, because in my mind, if you fight, you get a longer sentence. I'm like, I'm not about to fight you. Like, first of all, you're not about to beat me up in jail, number one. Number two, I'm not staying here. So I'm like, girl, I'm not scared of you, but I'm not about to fight you either. You're not about to knock me out. And I'm not about to stay here. So he beat the brakes out that boy. I mean, slammed him onto the wall. It was a mess. So then somehow they found out it was a fight. The boy was talking smack. They pulled him out. They threw him into the hole. And I kind of sent the message and said I needed to be released out of there. Okay. And because I didn't have that much time, I had to go to another dorm anyway, where most of us were transitioning out anyway. So here we go. I'm doing my time. Everything's going cool. The bathrooms were pretty awkward. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really know how to poop because it's right in everybody's face. Like the shower, the poop, it was just, I didn't like it because everybody could see me doing everything. And I'm like, I'm supposed to poop right here? And you looking at me like literally like the toilet is right here and everybody's just looking. And I'm like, oh my God. I think I may have tried to poop like in the 3 weeks. I like pooped 1.5 times. Like I tried. I was like, you know, I have to shit. Like I cannot do this. Like I have to shit. So I think I pooped 1 time. So I'm in the door. I actually made some friends. I got 2 friends that I was in jail with actually. They're cool. So anyway, and there was another gay guy in there and I could not take her at all. She was some tea. She was trying to sleep with me and sleep with everybody. And I'm like, bitch, no, I'm not here. And then she had a lot of issues. She actually came through and said that, you know, they was doing a lot of, you know, taking advantage of the gays there. And unfortunately, she had got taken advantage of and because they test you in jail too. So, and she had came up and tested positive. So I'm like, girl, you know, I'm so glad that they're not, you know, over here in this dorm taking advantage. Okay. So she was like, yeah, be careful because they're taking advantage. And, you know, I just tested positive. because I've been here for 6 months and someone took advantage of me. I'm like, oh, girl. Okay, well, I started praying and, and I started speaking in tongue to myself. And I'm just like, girl, please, I only have a week left. Let me out of here, okay? So, boom, here we go. Now, here's where it gets good. So here is my last day. The week passed, I make it through. Fast forward. Now, I'm going to go sign my papers, get my release information, and then after you get your release information, you got to go back to the dorm and wait for the police to call you out, and then, you're released. But in that time, you are sitting in like a holding cell with inmates from all sectors of the prison, the jail, whatever, because you're in court, basically. So you're sitting like they section you off in the beginning, like based upon crime. But when you're sitting in the holding space to talk to your lawyer, I was sitting with mass murderers and, and takers of advantagers and killers. I'm sitting with them. So I'm like, oh, no, ma'am. I'm seeing orange ring, like orange band. Mine was white, but I was seeing like orange and red, and it just depended, like, and purple, like, so it was dependent, like, and different ones meant different levels. Okay. I knew mine wasn't that bad, but I didn't want nobody to see it. I just was like, girl, staying to myself. So here's this man. Mind you, he fine out the door. So we sitting in there and people going in and out, right? The police call you, they open up the cell, you go out, you go meet with your lawyer, blah, 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 blah. And, it was my turn. I knew I was leaving. So fast forward, it gets down to me and this man. He goes to meet with his lawyer. He gets pissed off because I come to find out, they giving this man 60 years. 60 years. Mind you, he like 25. He fine out the door though. So he like, shit, man. I'm sitting there. He because we the last two in there. I'm like, why would they leave me in here with him? I'm the last one, but I guess they telling me, nigga, you about to go home in 2 hours. He like, shit, man, how long they got you in here for? And I'm thinking about my mama, I cannot tell this man this. I'm like, well, shit, I don't even know yet. They haven't even told me. He like, shit, man, these niggas just gave me 60 years, bro. Bro. I'm like, 60 years? I said, what did you do? Man, bro, I killed somebody. He said, I killed that nigga. Like, I guess he killed like 5 people. I'm like, why did you do that? He got the die, but he was fine though. Like, bitch, he was fine. My God. So, and then he like, yo, bro. So yeah, I'm sitting here. I'm waiting on my lawyer. We trying to see what they gonna do now, but bro, I'm like, okay, that's. And he like, mind you, I got my paper. He trying to look at my paper. I'm like, I'm doing like, because my paper say released. That motherfucker say released on it. But so I'm finna get walked back, and then I'm finna get wait, and then they finna post. So my shit say released. But he trying to see what I got. I'm like, no. So yeah, wow. You know what I mean? Like, wow. And so I guess his lawyer had gave him some pictures of his girlfriend and stuff. So then he tried to test me. So he pull out the pictures of his baby mom. And then the side chick, he like, oh, you like her? You think she cute? I'm like, yeah. He like, yeah, that's my baby mama. I said, yeah, she's pretty or whatever. He asked me this, and he asked me about the side chick. He said, you like that? I'm like, no, she not that cute. I just messed up. I'm stupid. I'm like, yeah, she all right. She not that cute, or I don't know. Like, she ain't all that. Like, no. He like, yeah, that's my side chick. You know what I mean? I be fucking with, he be fucking with it. He be like, so what? Let me ask you. You know. And I'm like, no. He like, I'm like, what you? He like, you think I'm cute? I'm like, no, absolutely not. No, I do not. Why would you say that to me? Then he scoot, mind you, he was over there. He's scooting toward me, like he's here. Then he scooped, and he like, you think I'm cute? He scoots here. Now, mind you, there's nobody in the room. there's a window where like the clerk could kind of see in, but she's now gone. Right here is a shower and a toilet. So it's a wall, but so it's an open room. You got the clerk's desk to the left, like through a glass wall. But then there's a wall barrier that creates a shower and like a little bit of a bathroom here. So she's blocked off, but you can see direct, but we're all sitting along the wall like here. So I could see everything straight forward. So I could see the, if I look straight forward, I could see the shower and the bathroom, but I could also see the clerk this way. And then the door was at the end where you just open it. However, the clerk could not see into the bathroom. She could only see at a 90-degree angle as well along the wall. So he like, well, you think I'm cute? Like, no. What are you talking about? He like, bro, come on. Like, nigga, I'm gonna be in here 60 years, nigga. Like, come on. Like, you know what's up. Like, you know. Like, you know. I'm like, no. I'm like, he like, I know you gay. Like, you gay. I'm like, I'm not gay. Like, I'm like, I do not. I'm like, girl, I am not gay. Like, I'm like, I am not gay. Like, stop this. Because I had told myself, I am not going to talk. He's like, yes, you are. So then he gets up, goes to the shower, and pulls his dick out. And tells me to get up and suck it. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I can't do that here. Girl. I'm like, I'm not about to do that. He's like, yes, you can. I'm like, no. He was like, man, bro, I ain't got no pussy in hella long, nigga. He's like, man, bro, I ain't fucked my bitch in like 4 years, nigga. He's like, bro, I got 60 years. I'm like, what? He's like, I'm tired of beating my meat. I'm like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, I cannot do this. He like, man, my bitch won't even work. Like, I can't even get to see my bitch. Like, bro, I'm in here 60 years, nigga. I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? I can't get up and suck, in. He like, yes, you can. So then he like, get up. I'm like, I'm not getting up. He like, get up, nigga. And he pulls it and he gets like he was gonna come at me. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to suck this man dick. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I'm like, girl, I think this man is gonna kill me in here, because then he started being nice, but then he started being serious. Like, girl, he was serious. He was dead serious. And what ended up happening was, thank God, as he like, bro, come here. Like, he was getting really serious. And I was like, oh my God, I guess I'm going to have to get up and probably have to fight. The bailiff man opens the door and says, Wiggins. I'm like, thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. The man jumped and acted like he was peeing. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you, Jesus. 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 Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Jesus. That man called me out of there. I ran out of there so fast. I was so happy to go back to that other cell. And then like an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I got released. I didn't have no ride. I didn't have nothing. I didn't give a damn. I walked all the way from downtown to the southwest side, stinking and everything. Called my dad. I'm like, I'm out. He like, you out? I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Lost my job, all the shit. Went to my house, homegirl. She had trade over there, but yeah, that was the story, child. It was an interesting story, but all worked out. Lost my job and everything, and that's when I ended up moving to Atlanta. But girl, he had almost got me. And so, I made it out. And yeah, I never really told that story, but that was the story. So I hope you guys appreciate it. But listen, I'm never going back to jail again. I never went to jail under those circumstances again. I went to jail a couple more times in Atlanta, but it was because in Atlanta, if you don't have no car insurance, if you don't have no driver, if you drive without a license or drive without car insurance or tags, you go to jail. I didn't know that. I was struggling. I had, but that story is a whole nother story. I'll tell y'all that story on another time. However, I hope y'all enjoyed the stories. I hope y'all enjoy story times. If you guys want more story times, let me know. Do you guys like the story times? Let me know in the comments. And please feel free to share the story times with your friends. Like, comment, share, chop it up, tag me in your favorite parts. It's very important. So yeah, shout out to all the super chats. But yeah, y'all. So it's 2021. We coming back with some more stories. I'm just grateful that I made it through it. I'm grateful that I'm alive to tell the story and share with you guys and inspire others and get into some things. So with that being said, y'all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace out.